is coming to the United States. Actually, the Mufti of Ethiopia is here now in Dallas, Texas. And I just want to say, just as before we even start, some reflection. This is a non-Muslim country they call Ethiopia. And when I first went to Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, there was approximately 20 masajid in the capital of Ethiopia, the capital. Now, we're talking a decade later, there are 200 plus masajid in Addis Ababa alone, 200 plus. Some of the masajid they built with Ethiopian birr. One birr, 53 birr, is equal to $1 on the market. 50. Wallahi, the generosity of the Muslims in Ethiopia. The government had insisted, they brought a group called the Ahbash. It's a very deviant group. They brought the Ahbash to Ethiopia on a Jumu'ah in 2010, on a Jumu'ah with military, and said, this is now the head of the religious affairs of Ethiopia. You will accept the Ahbash Aqidah. The people refused. The people refused. 26 brothers were murdered in Masjid Anwar on Jumu'ah in Ethiopia. The Imams of Ahl Sunnah were calm and they were patient. The people, they wanted to turn the country inside out, upside down. And the Imams of Ahl Sunnah, they said, be patient. And they were teaching the books of Aqidah. And they have an organized curriculum. What books are taught and what books are in what order. In Ethiopia, there's a little book, it's a white book. First you study Usul al-Thalatha. Then you study Al-Arba'in, was that? Qawa'id al-Arba. Then you study Kitab al-Tawheed. Then you study Arba'in al-Nawawiyya. And then you study Nawaqid al-Islam. Lastly, I believe. Then, if you want to keep studying, you study, of course, Quran. But then you study Bulugh al-Maram. In fiqh, they study Shafi'i fiqh, they study Safinat al-Najah, and they go all the way up to Al-Umm. They're very much experts in the Shafi'i fiqh. And there are also many Hanbali as well, but Shafi'i fiqh, they are experts. I mean, if you want to be a scholar of Shafi'i fiqh, you can go to Ethiopia today. If you want to be a Qari and you want to recite in all 10 riwayat, you can go to Ethiopia today. One of the biggest Imams in the history, in the last 100 years, two of them, they come from Ethiopia. Sheikh Muhammad Aman-Ajami came from Harar, and Sheikh Muhammad Wello, or he is known as Sheikh Muhammad ibn Adam al-Ethiopi. He was the Muhaddith of Mecca, and he just died, rahimahullah. Alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jal blessed me to meet this Sheikh. I met him and I was able to sit in his dars, and he's looking at the Kaaba while he's teaching us. And I was able to meet him on Hajj. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on this Imam. My point being, the Mufti of a non-Muslim country, okay, how did that happen? The people were teaching the books of Ahl Sunnah. They were advising the people, don't do revolution, do not go run in the streets, don't go burn things down. Be patient, it's the qadr of Allah. Allah is testing us, He's testing our sincerity. Teach Quran, teach Sunnah, teach Quran, teach Sunnah. Wallahi, one day I was there in Ethiopia, and I'm sitting there, the TV is on in my mother-in-law's room, and I see there's a news conference. And there's an Imam there named Sheikh Haji Ibrahim, and another Sheikh named Sheikh Jaylan. Now Sheikh Jaylan has many students in Harar. And in Arabic language, he is one of the most eloquent and advanced teachers of the Arabic language in the world. He's in Ethiopia. I'm watching the news conference, and the government turned over the keys to the majlis for the entire country to Ahl Sunnah. The government turned over the keys. I was amazed. And they're asking him, what is your manhaj? What is your methodology? They said, we're Salafi. Alhamdulillah, we teach Quran and Sunnah. I'm looking like, am I dreaming? Like, honestly, did I fall asleep? I'm dozing off. Am I awake? The point being, in this non-Muslim country, they have a mufti. They have organization. They have even a judicial system that if you have civil matters, you can actually go to the Muslim qadi and have your judgment, and the government will enforce the judgment of the qadi. In a non-Muslim country, I've never heard of a non-Muslim country that does this. And my point being, what do I see as this mufti is coming here to Dallas, Texas? And I have to ask Allah to forgive me for any insincerity. I cannot go to see him there. But may Allah bless him, and may Allah Azza wa Jal preserve him and give him long life. And the Imma, they have nidam, they have organization. And the imams are willing to have an imam. The imams are willing to have an imam that will lead them. Our community, if it doesn't follow the central leadership of one imam, it will be chaos. It will be chaos. It will be absent in many ways. There's a lot of things that we can do to progress as a community in that regards. But just to show the strength and to tell you again that the best Muslim you can ever be is a good leader, a good follower, I should say. The best Muslim you can ever be is a very good follower. The best leader in Islam is the best follower. That leads us into fiqh. The best faqih that you can be is the best follower of the pious generations that came before. The best you can be. You will never beat the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will never have better fiqh than Abu Bakr and Umar. You will never come close to Ibn Taymiyyah. You will never ever be Ali al-Madini. You can never be al-Bukhari. There will never be. There's a question about who's better, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. There's no who is the best imam in hadith of all history. It is al-Bukhari. There will never be another al-Bukhari. There can only be one, and there will only be one Muslim. There will only be. You can't do what they did. That time is past, the opportunity's gone. One man stood, it was Imam al-Bukhari. You can never be Imam Ahmed. The mihna will never come the way it came to him. Rahimahullah. Never. And you will never be Shafi'i. You're never going to write a risala. That can't happen. It's already happened. And with any mistakes that the Imam made, you have to understand, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's the first scholar to write in usul al-fiqh. The first. Imagine being the first to write in the science. The first. Imam Malik, the first to compile what he compiled in al-Muwatta. First. Prolific. Imams. But the best that we can be is followers. And if we look at this book, understanding when you study comparative fiqh, that you can be the best follower of the best. Not just one, but the best of the best that there are. When you study comparative fiqh, you're not limiting yourself. Maybe you grew up and you have been raised in the Hanbali madhab, or Shafi'i madhab, or Maliki madhab, or Hanafi madhab. This is like your father. That madhab that raised you is like your father. But your father, he has brothers, which means you have uncles. And your uncles, they have a place, and they are like your fathers. And so when you hear the scholars, and you hear these names, and you see the statements, then you realize that these are your salaf, these are your direct salaf, as if this is your uncle who's speaking to you. And you see the differences that happen, and you begin to ask questions. Why does Shafi'i think this way? Why does my uncle Ahmed think this way? Okay, my uncle Abu Hanifa, he said like this. Why he said like that? And then you can see how they came to their conclusions. That is usul fiqh. Usul fiqh is the understanding of the salaf. So remember, the correct methodology, however you name it, whether you say Ahl Sunnah, Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, Al Jama'ah, Afriqat al-Najiyah, Salafiyya, whatever you say. Whatever you say. If you say Muslim, that's the strongest statement, by the way. I'm a Muslim. But what do you mean by that? I mean I follow the Quran and the Sunnah. So we have Quran, we know what this is. And we know Sunnah is found in the Hadith and the Athar of the Sahaba, correct? But what is the understanding of the pious predecessors? That is called usul al-fiqh. So you have to have these three sciences. The position that something has, is by its relation and importance and understanding. That there is no greater nobility or heightened status than knowledge. Nobody will ever want, there's nothing you can try to be that's greater than an alim. Because every human on earth wants to be attributed with what? Knowing. Nobody doesn't want to be ever attributed without knowledge. Some people, maybe they don't want to be known as being wealthy. Some people don't want to be known as being fast. Some people don't want to be known as being generous. But not a single rational human being wants to be attributed as being ignorant. So knowledge is the greatest of gifts and things that we can be seeking, and the understanding of the pious predecessors and their wisdom and how they made their connections and seeing it implemented in fiqh. And this is from like the greatest things that we can have. So alhamdulillah, we came to several points. Right now we're studying the book of wudu from Kitab al-Tahara. And we have been able to learn from the things that are not disputed between the madhahib, the things that they agree about. And we've been using a study technique, and the study technique is in making a similitude between the things and picking a letter that's representative for that thing, and then making it a thing, an action, and an object that the action is happening to. So the first one that we had come up with is a ice cube crawling on mustard. For anybody who's watching for the first to say, what are you talking about? We're using a study technique that is strengthening your ability to memorize things, and we're testing that now to see if this is a very good way. And if this is a good way, and I think it's good, yeah, it works for me, and I think it's working for us now, then use this in school, use this in anything that you want to memorize. It's not as easy to do with Quran. I have a different tool for Quran, but use it for that. I'm still trying to master a way to very efficiently, quickly memorize Quran. And as soon as I have it, I will try to unleash it. I have like a 2.0 model that I'm going to try now, inshallah. Do you guys want to know what it is? I'll tell you, inshallah. Because these tools, this is more important to me in studying knowledge. What I benefited from sitting with ulama, what I benefited from sitting with tulab, is more beneficial. The style of how they learn and the style of how they memorize, and the style of how they understand and comprehend things. That's how you have ilm. So, the idea, may Allah Azza make it easy for us, is three things. Alhamdulillah, we have a Hafid who's here with us. He'll tell you if this is easy or not easy, if doable, it is how it's going. Hifd of Quran, the thing is what? Raja'ah. No matter what you're memorizing, if you're not reviewing, it's no good to you. Meaning, you can't rely on it. I'm not saying it's no good in the fact that you don't get reward. But you got to come up with a style or an approach that is going to help you. So, first and foremostly, with whatever amount that you're going to memorize, let's just say, for example, it's half a page. I would recommend making half a page, no less, per day, because that gives you a 4-year goal. You can see the end of the road, like going to college. 4 years, inshallah, you'll be hafiz, right? So with what you're going to memorize that day, okay, after each fard salah, you read that portion 3 to 5 times. You read it. You read it. You do not try to pass. You read it 3 to 5 times after. Just half a page. Very easy to do, inshallah. If reading is not easy for you, then the number one thing to do is learn how to read quickly, better, so you can read more efficiently. That's what you should be working on then. But once you get the reading down, half a page, very simple, can do it in 30 seconds, minute most, and you do it 3 to 5 times, each time. In your sunan salah, you read, see, because in your fard salah, you cannot read from the mushaf, right? But in your sunnah salah, you can what? You can use your mushaf. In your sunnah salah, you should review. Say if you have a juz, that you would finish this juz every 5 days. That means you have 4 pages that you have to review for 1 juz. Okay? And you just increase as you go, and it will become easier and faster. The more that you do it, it will be easier, easier. Like how long does it take for you to memorize, to recite Surah Al-Fatiha? How long? Quick. You could say it very fast. You can do it really fast. Because it's there. So the secret is to try to make the entire Quran like Fatiha. The only way to do that is repeat it as much as you repeated Fatiha. By looking at the book, I am familiarizing myself with what I'm reading and reviewing, right? I'm not testing my memory, Jazakumullah khair. So in your review, you read, right? Half a page in each rak'ah of your sunnah salah, except for 1 salah. What salah should you not do that? Before Fajr. Because before Fajr, we're going to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We're going to recite, because that's where the barakah is in. We will recite Kul Huwallahu Ahad and Kul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun in those 2. But in the other salawat, in the other recommended sunan, we will read half a page if you have a juz to review in each raka'ah, but you'll read it with the mushaf. Okay? Doing that every 5 days, you will finish what you have memorized, and you're adding on a little bit more, you're adding on a little bit more, so you get to about a week. Once you get to 2 juz, then you will go to 1 page. 1 page per raka'ah, and it will be just as fast as the half a page was when you started. That's at least what I'm finding. And then you just go. By doing that, you're reading and you are seeing the mushaf over and over in each day, and you're reading a portion that's easy for you, and it's becoming easier and faster and easier and faster, and you're seeing that ayah. You're seeing what comes next. That to me seems to be, in my opinion, the fastest, easiest way to retain and keep on moving forward at a very fast pace. Because when you move fast, like 1 page or 2 pages per day, the challenge that I found is that it's very hard for you to what? Review frequent. Then it becomes too much. Once you get over like 2 or 3 juz, it's like it's a lot. So you got to speed it up. You got to do more review. Then in your hifz time is when you're doing what? Testing your memory with whatever method is easy for you for reading. But why are we testing our memory while we're trying to review what we're going to memorize? The only time that I'm going to test my memory is if I'm trying to pass or if I'm leading salah. Other than that, or if I'm trying to recall the ayah in a dars or in some situation I'm in need or I want to review or whatever, I don't have the mushaf with me, right? But by doing that, yani, it becomes very repetitive, very easy, very familiar, and we'll have to see how it goes once you get to a certain amount of ajza. But what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea? Sheikh Muhammad? No. Think it's okay? I'm gonna try it. We'll make dua inshallah. Okay? We'll try to make it inshallah. Right? So that's, oh, there's an ankabut. There's a spider, and it's a big one. It ain't small. He's coming here. Uh-oh. MashaAllah, he's trying to get to the dars. He's like, I want to be right there, you know. Yeah, inshallah, right? Now, so we'll get to the fiqh, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, an ice cube is, I'm trying not to look at anything as a matter of fact right now. An ice cube is crawling on mustard. What does the ice cube stand for? Impurities. And just as a caveat, how many types of impurities are there? Two. From hadith, an impurity from najasa or khubus, right? Okay, is crawling, the C stands for? C. Give you a clue, there's three of them. Categories. Three categories of what? Purification. What are they? Wudu, ghusl, and what? Tayammum. Is crawling on mustard. What does the mustard stand for? The must is the clue here. What's the must? That you must make wudu when you must for salah. You must. The person who must make wudu must, right, before they pray. Okay, and this is all matters that are agreed upon with the ulama. Then the second analogy was a mango tripping over a needle. What is the mango? Maturity. That you have to be mature. Maturity, right? The person who is mature enough age must pray when the salah comes in. They have to make wudu if they don't have wudu. For the person who's mature. Tripping, what's the T stand for? Time. That you must make wudu for that salah when the time for that salah comes in, right? And just as a caveat, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I mean, think about the most pure of purity, purest human beings, pure in every sense of the word. And he would make wudu before most of his salawat. It was so much so that on the day of Fath al-Makkah, it was noted that he did not make wudu because he had wudu for 3 salawat. SubhanAllah. So that tells you, maybe we should make more wudu. If our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was making wudu like this, I don't know if we're making enough wudu. So, mango tripping over a needle. What's the needle? Niyya. The niyya, the intention, right? You have to have the intention. Because it's an act of ibadah. And the scholars, they unanimously agree that the intention has to be present in any action of worship. Any action of worship. So anything that is done to seek nearness to Allah must have the niyyah in order for it to be accepted. Great. So if you don't have niyyah, you try to make wudu, it's not accepted. All right. Then we had a meme. This meme is a face emoji, smiley face emoji, with a big smiling face, 2 hands sticking out, and a big old forehead. What does that meme stand for? There's three things are connected, they're related, that's why we put them together. You have to wash the whole face, hands up to the elbows, and you must wipe or wash over the forehead. These are all things that are agreed about. Very good. Then lastly, we have a number one that is fighting with a warrior. Right? So the number one, this one it stands for 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, which means what? That it has to be done 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 in their order. Okay? In their order. Okay? So it wasn't very clear. It has to be done 1, 1, 1 in order. Okay? Is fighting. What's the F stand for?
Oh, so you're saying, I'm sorry. So you're saying the 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 is the order?
Is the order, the tartib.
Not how many times.
The tartib. It has to be done 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 in order. Right? And that 2 and 3 are voluntary and they are sunan. But they're not fard. The fard is at least 1. Right? Okay. Then the next one is it's fighting with a needle. Fighting with the warrior. What does the warrior stand for? For wiping, right? They agree, they have unanimous agreement that you can wipe over the socks. Okay? You can wipe over the socks. All right, so those are the things that's our review. Now, we will take the what?
So what was the third now? We had
the feet.
We had one.
The fighting.
Fighting.
Oh, did I not go over the F in fighting?
Fighting.
Yes, the fighting is both feet. Jazakumullah khair. Yes, the feet. Very good, very good. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, so the next point after this is that the ulama, they agree over the wiping over socks. They agree over wiping over socks, or what does that mean, right? Socks and what's related to it. They agree about that. They all agree. So it's not just 2 hoofs, but it's hoofs and what can even take its place, but they agree about that you can wipe over socks. So we have another one here. They agree about the socks is the main thing. So I would say that the letter S will be the subject. What is a thing that starts with the letter S? Something that starts with the letter S. Anything.
Sushi.
Sushi. There's sushi. It's a sushi roll, right? A sushi, right? A piece of sushi. Okay? So the S is for socks. Sushi sounds like shoes a little bit. You put your socks in your shoes. So we'll make the connection with the sushi. So there's sushi. And this stands for the socks. That it is agreed upon that the socks can be wiped over. The next one.
That was number 12, right?
That is number 13. Because we're doing in sets of 3.
So the what? Okay. So then the wiping, because that's what we left off that last week was the wiping.
The wiping over the 2 socks. Then the next one is that they agree that you can wipe over socks. Is that opinion is sahih? That if you wipe over your socks, it's okay. Okay.
So I'm not sure what the difference is between both. So what's
No. When we get into the actual mas'ala, when we get into those, we're going to go into a deeper dive. This is because this will be mentioned again per the author with the conversation that goes, this is a preview to just set these things in the book of wudu that we already know we agree about. Now, the next one is, he says, ijma'u means consensus. When a scholar says consensus, what they mean by that is that they're not aware of any difference of opinion about it. Meaning, everyone who's ever had an opinion, this is ijma'. I mean, all of them, not just the madhahib. This is all the Sahaba agreed about this, all the Tabi'in agreed about this. There's knowledge of anybody ever differing about this means. Does it mean that there was not ever a disagreement? It doesn't mean that. It means that this scholar is not aware of that. And if they're not, probably hard pressed to find that you're going to find something different. Because they know what was been said before them, right? So the consensus that from the conditions of wiping over the two socks is that they are that you can only wipe over socks when they are being put on 2 feet that were purified from wudu. Meaning you have to make wudu and clean them before you put the socks on. They all consensus agree about that. So this scholar Ibn Rushd rahimahullah is saying, I am not aware of any ever disagreeing with this, ever. Not the Prophet, not anybody after, nobody's ever disagreed about this from the scholars ever. So we have a piece of sushi, and that you have to have 2 clean feet before, they have to be cleaned by wudu, meaning you have to have made wudu. Not that you just washed your feet and then you can put socks on. No, you had to have made wudu. Then you can put socks on over those feet. So they agree about this. So now we have the socks. You can wipe over the socks. And the second one being that you have to make wudu. So the wudu has to be before you put the socks on and wipe over them. So I think the wudu is the thing that we should look for. That's the main important thing. Did you make wudu before you put your socks on? So the W in wudu, sushi is an action that starts with W.
Sushi's walking.
Is walking. Sushi is walking. Walking sushi, right? So we have sushi that's walking. Very good. So walking is for wudu, and it is that you have to have made wudu before you put those socks on in order to be able to wipe over them and for that to be correct. Jade. Then he says, again, a consensus that whoever, now listen very carefully, we're going to take this in probably 3 times and then we'll go with our analogy. Sushi's walking on something, and what is it it's walking on? It's related to this. There's a consensus that whoever wears one of his socks before he washes the other foot. I don't know if we've ever done this. I have never done this, but I'm going to try this out. Just because he's talking about it, I'm going to do it. Just because of that. That's another thing that will help you about learning the sunnah, is implementing it. When you learn something from knowledge, try to do it. I'll give you one that's really tough, by the way. Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, yes, it was Ibn Taymiyyah, I believe, yes. He had invited guests over to his house. And he made food. Now before the food was to be eaten, the guest asked if they can go wash their hands. Ibn Taymiyyah said, this opposes the sunnah. Washing your hands before you eat. He said, huh? He said, no, you should wash your hands after. He said, and he brought a narration that Umar, radiallahu an, came to sit down for food. Now try this one, if you try this. Before he ate, he took his hands and he wiped over the bottom of his feet. And then he ate. And then after he ate, he washed his hands. Give it a shot. That's all I'm saying. Let's give it a shot. Right? I remember the first time I had a fly land in one of my drinks. The first time. I heard about this narration, dip it all the way in. I say, man, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Then it happened. And it was a fat fly too. It wasn't like a little one. big old fat fly. Boom, he's like splashing in it. Bah, bah. I'm looking at it, I'm like, man. I poured it out. My nephew saw me, he's like, Sheikh, why'd you do that? Don't you know the narration? I said, I know the narration. Were you gonna do it? He said, inshallah. He's like, these flies, because it's the coffee shell, the shell of the coffee, the bean, you roast it. And then they eat it with milk, it's called hashara. Very famous Ethiopian drink. They call keskara in, I think, Europe. Flies love this. They love the milk and they love the bean. Bam, you just make it, bam, just flying in it, sure as day. So the next time it happened, alhamdulillah, it landed in it, I said, inshallah. So I gave it a shot. Alhamdulillah, I didn't get sick. I knew I was not gonna get sick, but it's just that mental thing of getting over what you've been taught, right? So, first of all, let's go find the narration about Umar wiping over his feet. When we have the narration, let's give it a shot, inshallah ta'ala. So is that authentic? What's that? That's what I'm saying. Let's go look for the narration. Yes, because I want to go tell people, go do the sunnah. Like, man, wipe over my feet, you know? Find the narration first. I'm just mentioning what was narrated, related. Now let's find the narration, inshallah, right? By the way, where would you look for this? An easy way. Where would you, if you had different books of narrations, where are the easiest books for you to find this narration from Umar? Is it going to be in a jami'? Will it be in a musnad? Or will it be in musannaf? In a musannaf. These are three different categories of books of narrations, right? A jami', like Bukhari, Tirmidhi, like this. Then you have a musnad, like the musnad of Imam Ahmed, and then you have like a musannaf, like Musannaf Abdul Razak and Musannaf Ibn Abi Shayba. Where and what type of these books of narrations would be the number one, the number two go to, and the number three go to? We'll find out Ahl Hadith. Who's the people of Ahl Athar? Who's the Athari? Who's the people of the narrations? It's us. So how will we go about it, inshallah? Which one would you go for first?
I don't remember, but one of the compilers said to read by the narrator.
By the narrator. No. The Musnad. The books of Musannad, the Musnad, like of Imam Ahmed, he goes by the narration by Sahabi. So very easy to find all the narrations that Ahmed has from Umar. The next number two go to, which one would it be? The Jami'? I would go for Musannaf. Why? Because it's only the statements of the Sahaba. A Musannaf is only the statements of the Sahaba. So that's the way that I would go about it, inshallah. Jade. So again, here we are. There's a consensus that anybody who puts on a sock before he washes his other foot, okay, then he takes off that sock after he washes, and then he washes the second foot, then he puts the sock on the second foot. Then he'll put the sock back on the first foot. Then it's permissible for you to wipe over your feet in that, if you did it that way. So again, you didn't wash the first foot, you just put the sock on, but then you washed the second foot. Then you put the sock on the second foot, took the sock off the first foot, and you washed the first foot and put the sock back on. Then you can wipe over it. They have agreement about that.
You have to put the sock over the first foot first before you wash that second.
That's what they have an agreement about. You don't have to do it, you know, because, yeah, but that's basically, exactly, yes.
But you couldn't, like, so I'm saying you couldn't make the wudu on the first foot, then put the sock on, then make the wudu on the second foot, then put the sock on.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of issues that go to that for me too. Why? Because from the sunnah, we should put our sock, right sock on first, right? So we should put it on first. But then what foot are you washing first? You're washing the left foot first. So now there's a conversation here, right? That like teaches you something. remember one time, sometimes you hear something, you see the Salaf, they did something or they're talking about something, and it's teaching you that this is the Sunnah. I'll give you an example. I went with the student of knowledge to Kuwait. First time I went to Kuwait. And I'm there with Sheikh Falah Mundakar, rahimahullah ta'ala. First time I ever met the Sheikh, Sheikh Falah, rahimahullah. The smiling Sheikh, our Sheikh. First time I meet him, we're in a majlis, in a Dewaniyah. And a Dewaniyah is a big sitting room, everybody sits down, and then you sit in and they serve you, the host of the house will serve you coffee and tea, and they're very generous. It's a big sitting room. So we're sitting in there and I'm right next to the student of knowledge. I'm not going to say his name. If he sees this, he's going to laugh. And every time somebody walks in, everybody's standing up to greet him. Every single time. I'm like, this is Majlis Ahlus Sunnah. We're on the Sunnah. Quran and Sunnah. Every single time I see somebody walk in, everybody's standing up. I mean, okay, I think maybe it's an important guy, and then I just see some random like young guy come in, and they're all standing up. And I'm sitting down like, mashallah, you know, mashallah, Ahlus Sunnah, I'm sitting down, because I was told, you know, the Prophet ﷺ didn't like people to stand for him. That means we should sit down when people come in. So I'm sitting down. Then it keeps on happening, and guess what? The student of knowledge is getting up. So I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, what is happening? Like, what is this? Should I be careful? Like, am I like around like people of bid'ah? Like, what's happening? SubhanAllah. So I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Akhi, brother, I keep noticing that everybody keeps standing up, and you're standing up too. Let's go against the Sunnah. Now this brother is of a darker complexion, but it's as if his face turned red. Like, what are you saying? He looked at me like he just paused, and he's such a gentle, patient brother. This is why I could go to him and do this. He looks at me and he goes, did you see Sheikh Falah get up? I said, yeah. He said, shouldn't that tell you that there's maybe something about this you don't properly understand? I'm like, man, that hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, here I am, self-righteous, like man of the Sunnah, you know, thinking how many times I may have like transgressed somebody or my judgment about somebody over my ignorance. Over my ignorance. SubhanAllah. So this last issue, inshallah.
So before you move on, so what did you add? I mean, is it, are you supposed to stand up?
You can.
You can.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I started doing it because I'm okay, Sheikh Falah is doing it. And now I look stupid because now I'm the only guy here that's not doing it. So it's like, you know, okay, this is Mubtadi right here. Or not Mubtadi, yani the beginner. The beginner. Not like innovator, like the beginner. Yeah, this is the little guy here. You know, he's big, but he's very little. You know, in this knowledge, he's very little. Big guy, little knowledge. So I start standing with everybody, mashallah. So, it's not something to separate over. That's the point. I am not going to separate from you, you know, and you're going to walk into the masjid and say, can I recite some Quran? I'm like, no. Either you leave or I leave, because you're a man that likes to stand, right? No, I'm not saying like that, right? So alhamdulillah, we have to learn, wallahi, rifqan ahl sunnah. We have to learn how to be compassionate, kind with each other. Very, very hard thing for us to master is our manners. Then he said, all of them, so it's about taking off one sock, wiping a foot, then putting the sock on, taking the sock, washing it, then putting the sock on. It's a whole lot of taking off and putting on. So putting on, how about putting on, right? So so there is a sushi walking on something that starts with a P. Like putting on the socks, putting on, taking off, putting on.
Sushi walking on pudding.
Pudding. You know what pudding is? You know what pudding is? Everybody knows pudding, right? The analogy only works if you do know pudding. Okay, different one. Sushi is walking on a pea.
On a pizza.
Pizza, there you go. Sushi, there you go.
Sushi.
Yeah, he's like, I just defeated the pizza, I'm walking on it, right? So sushi is walking on pizza, okay? So the sushi, again, stands for what?
Socks.
Socks, right? Agreement about socks, right? As long as it's a sock, right, they agree you wipe over it. Secondly, the walking, wudu, that you have to have wudu before you put the socks on for you to be able to wipe over them. And the pizza stands for putting on, taking off. You can do that. You could put a sock on, wipe the other foot, and then put the sock on, wipe and wash the other one, then do it. That's okay. They agree that you can do that. All right. The next three, we'll take three more, inshallah. This one is very simple. I just don't like the wording of it in Arabic. It's wordy, very wordy. But inshallah, in English what it says is that whatever nullifies your wudu, nullifies your wiping over the socks. Okay? So once you break your wudu, you have to wash your feet. All right? So whatever breaks the wudu, then it will, that thing itself stops you from being able to wipe over your feet, your socks, wipe over your socks. So if I have wudu, then I break my wudu, okay? The thing that broke wudu, okay? How should I word this? Because now it sounds confusing.
So if you use the bathroom?
The next time you make wudu, you have to wipe it one more time.
No, you said you have
Yes, exactly.
You have to wipe over.
You have to wipe over, I'm sorry, not when you wash your feet. You have to wipe over your socks again. There you go. So once you wiped over your socks once, you lost your wudu. I'm sorry, because I'm like looking at, I'll read it. اجمعوا أن نواقض طهارة المس على الخفين هي نواقض الوضوء بعينها. It's very wordy, because like in English, you're going to go like a different way with it. You know, today I was supposed to do translation. Allah had mercy on me. Alhamdulillah. Ya Rab. I was supposed to do live translation. This would be my first time doing live translation.
Was it there from yesterday?
Yes. Alhamdulillah.
It's those flyers from going a little bit earlier too. All of a sudden I just get a flyer like, that's tonight. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, subhanAllah. Wallahi, it made, I was very nervous, I'll be honest, man. Ooh, I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I know Arabic. I messaged him, I'm like, Allah was that, like this is serious. But alhamdulillah. So alhamdulillah, you know, I just don't like, because I like to translate the meaning. There's different types of translation. Some people translate word for word. I do not like, you can't do that, by the way, because you'll lose the meaning. But then if you do too much meaning, you lose the actual words. Then they'll be like, he didn't say that, but that's what he meant. But he didn't say that, but that's what he meant, you know? All right, so again, alhamdulillah. It's not easy. SubhanAllah. So wiping, that what will nullify your wiping over the socks is what nullifies the wudu. So if it nullifies wudu, you have to re-wipe over your socks when you make wudu. Yes, you can't just say I wiped over the socks once and I'm good to go. All right, so this means that the nullifier of tahara, the nullifier of wudu is what nullifies the wiping, so the N. So what's an object that starts with an N? A thing that starts with the letter N.
Nutter butter.
What?
Nutter butter.
A nutter butter? I don't know. That's a little bit specialized. And a what?
A nut. A nut.
A nut. A nut.
How about Nutella?
Nutella. Everybody knows Nutella. There you go. Every human, I think now, I was in Ethiopia, I had Nutella, man.
I know, I was eating.
Yeah, it's like they know Nutella, man. They know Nutella.
That was like a hazelnut spread.
Okay, we're going to go for a different one. If there's one guy, this is our sampling pool. If there's one guy here who's like, I don't know what that is, and we're going,
Okay, that's not inside.
right? I know, right? Yeah, now you know. Something starts with an N.
Nest. Like a bird's nest.
A nest. Nest. You know Nescafe? Yes. Everybody knows Nescafe. Okay. So there's Nescafe, okay? But is it now? Yeah, Nescafe is coffee, Nescafe. We'll go with Nescafe because it's ridiculous, right? Like Nescafe, what are you talking about, right? The more ridiculous it is, the easier it's going to stick in your head. So there's Nescafe. Okay, whatever that means to you, I'm not trying to influence your thought. It could be a cup, it could be the actual case, whatever it is. So there's Nescafe. The next one after that, okay, is that the scholars, they agree. This is another one here. They agree that all the types of water, now you have to hear the whole thing. They agree that all the types of naturally occurring water, whether it's rain, river, well, spring, or other than it, that the water, it purifies by itself. It is pure and it purifies other things. Okay? Except, this is going to sound very amazing to anybody who's ever read the Quran. This is going to be very interesting for you. Except the water of the ocean, there's a difference of opinion that some of the scholars had about ocean water. Okay, you have subhanallah. You have the Quran, you have the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the ocean water, its purity. How will you have a difference of opinion? Yes, it says shadh. So this is a strange difference of opinion. Strange, it's shadh, it's strange. Okay? So basically what they're saying is, all the scholars agree that all types of naturally occurring water are pure themselves and they purify other things. So that means the ocean is pure, the rivers are pure, the wells are pure, the springs are pure, the rivers are what else did we mention?
Rain.
The rain is pure, okay? All this is pure. So Nutella, and this is about water again, but it's pure and it purifies. We'll go with the letter P. Okay? Nutella is doing an action that starts with P. I'm sorry, Nescafe. Nescafe is doing an action that starts with P. What action starts with the letter P? Painting. Nescafe is painting. Okay? Nescafe is painting, okay? So the N in Nescafe stands for what?
Nullifier.
The nullifier, right? That what nullifies will do, nullifies your ability to wipe over socks, you have to wipe over them again. Then the P stands for the purity, pure. That water is pure as it naturally occurs and it is purifying. All right? The last one we'll take, inshallah, is that there is an agreement that everything that changes water, okay, any time that something has overcome the quality of water, okay, everything that changes water, that it doesn't, it itself is not clean, and it is not clean, and it cannot clean other than it. So something that changes water from being pure, it itself is not clean and cannot be used to clean. For example, and this is something, like people use dung. Some people used to use dung, right? You cannot use dung, right, of certain animals. So certain animals, their dung and their urine is pure. But here, you cannot use bones or something that is filthy, that will impurify. Okay, not bones necessarily. Something that will impurify. Okay, that's an impurity itself.
Urine in some water.
Yeah, urine, you're not using urine, right? Urine itself is not going to be cleaning, and it's not going to use to clean. So anything that it itself is not pure, anything that is not pure, that mixes with water, okay, and it makes it impure, if it overcomes its qualities, that thing itself is not pure and it doesn't purify. Okay, so let's just say it that way. So anything that changes water from pure to impure, if it overcomes the water in any way, that thing itself is not pure and it doesn't purify. So what's an example of that? I know that was wordy.
Like the chemicals today, it changes the contour and the color of water.
If it's impure, it could be a pure chemical, right? Because if you go with something that is pure, and that's an issue that we're going to talk about, they all agree about that too, right? Something that is pure, if it changes the quality of water to something other than water, the quality, the smell, the taste or something, it's still pure. Alhamdulillah, we can use soap, right? Otherwise it'd be like soap, and you got to get all the soap off, then you can use the water, right? So what's an example? So for example, like we said, urine, right? Urine cannot be used. It's not pure and it cannot be used to purify something. Okay? All right. That makes you ask questions like, what were people doing, right? Who's thought, like, let me wash this with this? And maybe there's maybe some quality of how something is used, you know, I don't know. All right. So now this is about the impure. Now this is about najasa. That whatever is najis, it itself cannot. It's not clean. It's not clean, and it cannot be used to clean. You can't use najis. So najis. So you have Nescafe that is doing what? Painting something that starts with an N. For najis. Painting what?
Night.
Painting at night, right? Pretty bad idea. You can't even see the wall, right? It's just like, I think it's good, right? So there is Nescafe, painting at night, right? So night is the adjective or the detail about the painting. So the night stands for najis. And the najis itself is not clean, it cannot be used to clean. All right, inshallah. We'll stop here. Next time, we have now, we're on 18. We have from 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 things. We'll try to take all of them next week, inshallah, and then we'll have like a review, like a test. Then we'll go into the book, inshallah. And we're going to start with the first mas'ala. We're going to go all the way back. Okay, the very first one, all right? About the scholars that they agree that there are two types of impurity. And then from there, the matters that are related to that, inshallah. Anything I said is correct from Allah and His Messenger. Anything I said is not correct from myself and shaitan, and Allah and the Messenger are free from it. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.